It's a tale as old as time, the dynasty and the disruptors, the preeminent power in Division II women's basketball. Grand Valley State University looking to win consecutive national championships, but boy, do they have their hands full today. Indiana University of Pennsylvania, the Crimson Hawks, they are ready for this moment here in Pittsburgh, just 60 miles from their campus. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome courtside at UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse. I'm Brendan Gulick, along with Kelly Burke. Happy Championship Saturday here in Division II. You've got a program in Grand Valley State that's won 166 games, lost only 12 the last 5 years. They're the standard bearer. IUP has been building for this moment the last couple years. They're ready to go.
And the Lakers are loose. Grand Valley State has not felt the pressure all year to repeat. IUP largely has been overlooked, even in their own conference this season. So forward Shea Weaver said that the Crimson Hawks love to play the role of villain and prove doubters wrong.
Well, they are ready for that challenge tonight, and they certainly think they've got the right recipe. It starts with Shea Weaver, easily one of the most athletic players in the country. Weaver
is a double threat anytime she's on the floor. Elite footwork. She's got great touch around the basket and one of the best rebounders in all of Division II. Watch for Weaver's dives and off-ball cutting to really create some defensive havoc for Grand Valley State. The Lakers, meanwhile, led by one of their 5 seniors, Paige Vanstee, a bigger guard who can create mismatches. She's always a threat in transition, and Vanstee can break you down off the bounce, a tough finisher inside.
Led by Mike Williams, the head coach of the Lakers, the National Coach of the Year, looking for back-to-back national titles and the third in his coaching career. It would also be the 33rd team championship in Grand Valley State Athletic Department history. Craig Carey, a little heavier weight on his shoulders. IUP has never won a team championship in athletic department history, but in just his 4th year at IUP, he is ready to take home a trophy. Here we go, the national title game underway in Pittsburgh. Grand Valley State in their all-whites, IUP in black. Our officials are Colleen Thompson, Jillian Quinn, and Desiree Dobson. Inside Bizball, early, getting going.
And Grand Valley State wants to go inside as much as possible, really exploit their size and length.
All right, Kelly, this game for Grand Valley State has to start better than what we saw from them in their semifinal win over Alabama Huntsville.
14 missed layups in that game in the first half.
They finished the game with 31 missed layups and 15 missed threes. But they still won by 22 points as they outlasted the Chargers from Huntsville, Alabama.
And a lot of the reason for that was because Grand Valley State is so good on the offensive glass. 31 offensive boards in that game.
Grand Valley's size and athleticism will stand out pretty quickly if you're just watching them for the first time. Nicole Kameen, good body control, and she lays it in.
And IUP is going to have to make sure against Kameen, they're really cutting off the driving lanes because she's so good on finishing on those angles.
Saw the starting lineups: Anderson, Bizball, Kameen, Blitzawhite, and Vanstee. As Mackenzie Bizball pokes it away, holds off Weaver and scores. A hot, quick start for the Lakers.
But it's the defense right now that's really dictating it for the Lakers. Already 2 takeaways in this game.
Shea Weaver, at sometimes this year, has gotten into a little bit of foul trouble. I don't think they can afford to have her get into foul trouble today. She had 21 in that win over Colorado Mesa the other night. 21 and 10. Wilkerson in the paint, throws up a brick.
Wilkerson is that player for the Crimson Hawks today that can be the X factor because she's a bigger guard. She's got some strength so she can take you off the bounce and finish through contact.
Great energy in this building early on. Certainly a little heavier crowd for the Crimson Hawks being so close to campus. But right now you wouldn't know it because the Lakers are loud up in the bleachers. 8-0 Grand Valley.
The recipe for success for the Lakers so far, turning defense to offense. Bizball with the takeaway and the finish the other way. 8-0 Grand Valley State.
IUP Crimson Hawks certainly didn't draw it up this way out of the gate, giving up the first 4 baskets in 2 minutes. In fact, the last couple games here in Pittsburgh, Kelly, they were the ones that got on top of their opponent early.
The recipe for success for IUP in this tournament so far in Pittsburgh has been getting off to fast starts. So obviously dug yourself some early hole. It's the first time the Crimson Hawks have ever played in the women's basketball national championship game. Looking to bring home actually the school's first title in any sport.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly had great runs over the years and a proud tradition, but this is a little different animal, playing in the biggest game in the history of the program. Maybe a little fortunate there not to get called for a travel. Zavosky is in the game for the first time for IUP. So pass is thrown out of bounds.
And IUP,
Wilkerson to the bench, Madison Zavosky on the floor.
The Crimson Hawks just haven't seen this level of ball pressure either from the Lakers, the length, the size, and the ability to switch at nearly every position.
Mackenzie Bisbal, whose sister Riley is sitting front row behind center court over there. Of course, big part of last year's championship team. Molly Anderson has it stripped away. Good play, Teresa Maggio. This kid has been so much fun to watch here in Pittsburgh.
Maggio has such active hands. She can steal anything, anywhere, anytime.
Bisbal pulls away the miss. So far, IUP 0 for 3 shooting it. They've been out-rebounded 4-0. Paige Van Stee measures and misses long.
But another offensive rebound for the Lakers.
Blitza White. Missed way right.
This isn't necessarily a great three-point shooting team for Grand Valley State. Lost about 45% of their three-point numbers from last year with the 5 seniors that graduated. So you're going to see IUP's going to really pack it in the paint, let some of those three-point looks fly.
Mike Williams, extremely complimentary of how intelligent his group is. He said, this is one of the highest IQ groups I've ever coached. Doesn't take him long to pick things up. The flip side, IUP finally gets a bucket, and with a foul in the backcourt on Maggio, saying, what do you mean it's a foul?
That one hurts if you're IUP because you're 90 feet away from the basket and kind of incidental contact.
Kameen feeds it inside. Bisbal traveled with it.
And that's exactly what the Crimson Hawks have to do. When that ball goes into the post and Mackenzie Bisbal, absolute black jersey defenders everywhere swarming the ball.
Erin Miller. This young lady plays with every ounce of energy she's got. You can see it on her face as the game wears on. She turns it over there. I would argue she might be the hardest working player on that roster. Just gives it absolutely everything. Paige Van Stee looking around. The All-American trying to step through and passes back out. Avery Zeenstra came in for Molly Anderson.
Look at the battle though for position going on inside.
Kameen, so tough. Nicole Kameen, big bucket.
As a defender, you're trying to push Nicole Kameen out of the lane, out of her spots, but she's so good at finishing those tough angles from either side.
Better start for Kameen today. She was 2 of 12 from the floor in the semifinal, but hit all 8 of her foul shots and still finished with 13. So they work it ahead, and Nicole is stripped. And she had such an open shot, she just missed it. Bisbal couldn't finish.
Weaver's got to touch this ball more for the Crimson Hawks.
Maggio went right to the bucket. You're right, it feels like Weaver's not really been a big part of this offense yet.
Doesn't even have a shot attempt yet.
Oh boy.
And that's 2 on Teresa Maggio. That is so costly because she is one of the elite defenders on this IUP team. Just the heart and soul out here. Just got her reaching in. And that's an adjustment the Crimson Hawks are going to have to make. This game is already being officiated very tightly.
Maggio has been dynamite in the Elite Eight and in yesterday's semifinal. With 17 in the semifinal, she had 9 steals in the quarterfinal. And so far, having a tough time here defensively. 10-2 Lakers. 4 to shoot. Nia Davis goes down the right side into contact. Offensive foul.
That's a good call. And it's a great job of Belle Bosch beating the offensive player to the spot. In position, gets there in plenty of time. Her feet are set, able to draw the offensive foul on Nia Davis.
I feel like Belle Bosch is going to have a big game. She stepped up really impressive on Thursday.
Yeah, especially her defense is going to be critical in this game. Was able to have some key steals in that semifinal win.
Bosch, number 2 in black. Wilkerson, tough move right down the left side. Defense opened up, kept the body under control, lays it in.
Great job by Wilkerson of reading that ball screen. Saw that the seas parted and just took it downhill in a hurry.
Ellie's had a great season, and they've leaned on her heavily in the NCAA tournament. Scoring 11 points per game this year as Plitzowite puts it up. But in 3 of her last 4, she's been well over her season average and had 20 against Colorado Mesa. Back to Weaver. Not letting her get many touches inside 8 feet of the basket right now. That might give him a little lift. Ellie Hardwell, the senior out of Seattle, splashes one.
Bench is going to have to really step up for IUP with Teresa Maggio on the bench in foul trouble.
Kamini maybe overthought it a little bit, turns it over. Three new Lakers coming on. Crimson Hawks are subbing Zavosky back on the floor. And it also looks like they're going to bring Molly Keene in. If you didn't see the IUP semifinal, they had some pretty early challenges when Weaver picked up 2 fouls in the post, and Molly Keene picked up 4 fouls in 5 minutes as Weaver's primary backup.
And Weaver actually had to move to an off-ball defender because of that foul trouble, could not guard re-time.
The fact they overcame that and beat Colorado Mesa was pretty wild. Davis fouled.
IUP's going to have to do a better job protecting the basketball, especially on the perimeter, because these Laker guards have very active hands. They're getting deflections, knocking the ball away, and a nice job by Nia Davis. One of 4 steals in this game, trying to finish the other way, able to draw the foul.
Only 1 turnover that was not truly stolen away, and it was the errant pass thrown into the Grand Valley bench. Right now, this Laker team is harassing the Crimson Hawks.
Well, part of what IUP, the success formula for getting to this championship game, only 7 turnovers in that semifinal win. And already, IUP is at 5 in this game.
Lakers have missed 6 of their last 7 shots from the floor. Hardwell throws it away up top, but Davis couldn't actually handle it. Allie trying to make up for it, and does.
Allie Hardwell stepping up off the bench. She's making plays with her vision, but also stopping and popping. She's that boost and that energy player right now for IUP.
It was 8-0 Grand Valley State just a couple minutes into the game. The Crimson Hawks have come surging back here.
Hawks are hanging tough right now.
Paige Van Stee lost the handle under her own power. Wasn't fouled, she just tripped. That's a shot clock violation. Great defense by the Crimson Hawks.
Hawks playing some really good team defense. The communication has been good and doing a nice job of keeping that ball out of the paint. And IUP, keep in mind, 3 of the players on the floor right now are coming off the bench.
Molly Keene traveled.
I'm a little bit out of control. Weaver
Both teams need to take a deep breath here.
Weaver coming back in this game. The Lakers' game plan is to make sure that she is catching the ball outside of 8 feet. They want to make her have to take perimeter shots.
Grand Valley State skips it over. Molly Anderson puts it home. Molly was the first young lady out of the locker room for either team, and you could see the look on her face as soon as she stepped on the floor. She had this brief little moment where she smiled and looked around as though to say, I can't believe I'm playing in the Natty. And then all of a sudden, man, she locked in.
Anderson, one of 5 seniors on this year's Lakers squad, and one of 4 that are 5th-year seniors. So she played a pivotal role even in last year's championship.
It's a veteran team for Grand Valley State as Molly misses that shot, but it's a very different team than the one that won last year's national championship. Davis is called for the travel. Avery Lay off the bench, freshman from Chelsea, Michigan.
There's a lot of young players that are also playing on this Grand Valley State team that come in, give some really good minutes. You mentioned Avery Lay. Ava Scanlon, another player that, even though she's a junior, missed last season with an ACL tear.
Feels like this is the all-brace team. Like every 3 players or so on the bench seems to have a brace on one leg or the other. They've been through a lot despite all their success. 15-8, Wilkerson needs some help. Hardwell, fearless, and Van Steen rejects her. Whoa!
Paige Van Steen came to play today. Her last game in a Grand Valley State uniform, and look at the way she flies out of nowhere. It wasn't just a denial, that was an absolute shutdown.
What a rejection. IUP was about to turn it over with the shot clock expiring, so that's not the end of the world. Paige could hold for the last shot if she wants it, but says, no, I like this look. And now she's going to the free throw line.
Grand Valley State is so good because of the size and length they have on the perimeter. Likes to post up all 4 of their guards. Paige Van Steen, among the best players on this Lakers team to do that with her strength.
Had such a wonderful conversation with this young lady the other day. She has come a long way, says Mike Williams. Used to be a little bit shy and didn't quite have the confidence she needed. But boy, as she developed her game and her teammates love her, love watching her play. I mentioned this the other night. She seems to have this magnetic personality where they just feed off of Paige.
Vancy really sets the tone for this Lakers squad, especially with her defense. And she plays with a lot of joy too. So she's playing for her family, especially her biggest fan, or her grandpa, Bob Toonstra, out there. He's in attendance today.
Bob was emotional on that senior day for Paige. She was clearly had a little lump in her throat when she was talking about her grandpa. It was really cool. Ellie throws one up and misfires. Maybe a chance here. Anderson from half court. Good if it goes off to the right. Well, IUP was down 8-0 early on. They fought back in. They're hanging around, but they've turned it over 7 times in 16 possessions. Right now, Grand Valley leads by 9.
It has been all defense so far from Grand Valley State, getting in gaps and passing lanes, turning defense to offense. Already 2 shot blocks in this game. 5 steals for the Lakers, 11 points off of those turnovers. And right now, just dominant on the defensive end. And a lot of people forget that Grand Valley State, top 7, not only offensively, but top 5 defensively in the country.
Yeah, so many teams are good at one or the other, and then they can kind of compensate. Grand Valley has both jumped on teams and suffocated teams all year long. So how does IUP try to start this thing, right? They've still got half an hour worth of gameplay.
Shea Weaver has to touch this ball more, and she's got to touch it early in the shot clock.
How about that? One dribble all the way up the floor, 94 feet. Kenzie Bisbal, defense to offense again.
Another rejection inside, and Grand Valley State making it so difficult right now in the paint.
IUP, there's 7 turnovers, 3 of them from Marin Miller. He's dribbling here, and 3 from Ellie Wilkerson.
Maggio back in this game with 2 fouls, but she's got to continue to stay aggressive.
It's as though Coach Carey feels like he just can't afford to not have her on the floor at the moment. Got to take the gamble. Maggio lets it fly and hits.
And that's why you take the gamble, because Teresa Maggio is a 40% three-point shooter. She can light you up from distance or take you off the bounce.
Cold-blooded. Nicole Kameen answers on the other end, right back.
Tell you what, Nicole Kameen right now is locked in offensively. She's got it flying from all over the place.
Talked to her the other day too, and she's this very sweet young lady. she's so lighthearted, but man, when she's on the court between the lines, she's got laser eyes.
Yeah, very unassuming off the court.
Ellie's rejected. Grand Valley back to it.
IUP's going to have to start using some shot fakes to try and draw the Lakers off their feet and get some fouls.
It was good defense there from Maggio to make it difficult. Largest lead of the game for the Lake Show. Lob it underneath, Bisbal, power dribble, and she's fouled. IUP can't believe it.
Anytime this ball goes into the paint, IUP is collapsing on Mackenzie Bisbal. Well, Bosch doesn't necessarily like the call. She thought she had all ball.
Grand Valley State brings Molly Anderson off the floor. Here's a three ball from the left side. Bisbal, not quite. Avery Lay, Lexi Plitzwhite, Van Stee, Kameen, and Bisbal for the ladies in white. Weaver finally takes her first shot of the entire game. 12 minutes in, little teardrop goes home.
And Weaver needs to continue to be aggressive, trying to hunt her shot, even though the length right now is an issue inside from the Lakers.
Beg your pardon, that's her second shot, but her first make. In 11 minutes, she's got 2 points and 1 rebound. Kameen down the left lane, got pushed.
IUP's having a hard time keeping Nicole Kameen in front of them on ball. That help defense is going to have to come a lot sooner from the Crimson Hawks. That quick first step, she can get downhill in a hurry.
Got a couple whistles in this game that have elevated the blood pressure of the Crimson Hawks. Is that a good way to say it? That'll make you take a deep breath if you're Grand Valley. Paige Van Stee had one.
The guard play of the Lakers in this game has been excellent so far. You can tell that this group of seniors is playing with a lot of urgency right now. Van Stee, just tough finish inside through contact.
Molly Keene returns for IUP. Usually she and Weaver not on the floor at the same time, but clearly Craig Carey is saying we're getting annihilated underneath. They've got to find a way to rebound better, so 2 post players. Zavoski also with some size, so she's in there.
Well, Bosch now 2 personal fouls, so that's part of the reason you're seeing Keene in there.
GVSU is +6 on the glass, and Grand Valley has scored 11 points off those 7 IUP turnovers. Grand Valley's given it away 6 times, but have locked down on defense, only given up 2 points off those. Great shot fake from Keene. Zavoski cuts, finishes, count it, and one.
Excellent cut from Madison Zavoski, and that's what it's going to take against this Lakers defense. Is you're going to need some of those off-ball cuts and dives to the basket, constant motion to draw that defense away, and a nice job getting the inside position by Zavoski.
That's 2 fouls on Paige Van Stee as she heads to the bench. Free throw hits a little bit long. Laker fans have been on their feet since the outset. IUP's been plenty loud. Their students are up, but most of their fans are sitting nervously, watching their team try to hang around and solve this puzzle against the clear favorites coming into this tournament. Wow, Maggio just slips, and Zeenstra goes right to the basket and scores. Hope Teresa's okay. She kind of hobbles over to the other side of the floor. Aaron Miller. Great job by Kameen. Maggio to the bucket and to the free throw line.
Maggio has to continue to do that, be aggressive off the bounce, trying to force the issue, getting to the foul line. But the Lakers on the perimeter are doing a really nice job of blowing up the handoffs on the perimeter that IUP loves to go to. Just finding an inch of room, and Teresa Maggio is so skilled on that scoop shot.
Maggio's first free throw is up and good. She is the head of the spear for the defense. I mentioned she had individually had 9 steals against Holy Family out of Philadelphia in the Elite 8 game. Of the 18 they had in that game. As the season has started to see some better competition in tournament play. IUP has not been able to force as many steals as they did early in the year. Their defense has still been pretty tough. Grand Valley State right now is handling it okay. They've shot it well, 56% from the floor. And when they've made mistakes, they've buckled down. Davis had it poked away by Weaver for just a second, out of bounds.
The defense has definitely tightened up for IUP in this quarter, but the biggest challenge is going to be trying to find offense against the size and length, just the way especially Grand Valley State is playing defense right now, creating a lot of chaos and turnovers.
Kameen, shot clock winding down, banks it. Another chance, so the ball never hit the rim. It's a shot clock violation.
IUP caught a break there because that was likely going to be an offensive board in Grand Valley State's favor.
Grand Valley State University trying to win its third national championship in program history on the ladies' side. They did it in the 05-06 season. And then last year on this floor, Erin Miller, good-looking shot out of her hand, but missed right. IUP trying to win not just their women's basketball's first, but their first ever team championship in the history of the athletic department as Kameen glides for two more.
Transition offense is where the Lakers are so good, catching you before that half-court defense can get set.
Miller's had a tough day, 0 for 2 shooting, 3 turnovers. Wilkerson finds a little help, Bell Bosch airmails it. And that is off Bisball, so it stays here.
The Lakers defense is forcing IUP to take perimeter shots, getting nothing really in the paint right now.
Ellie Hardwell has been a little bit of a spark plug for them off the bench. She re-enters, 4 points for her. Man, oh man, IUP just cannot get any rhythm here.
The Crimson Hawks just look a little bit rattled right now. They have to settle down, remember what got them to this point. We asked Coach Craig Carey before the game, what's going to be the message to your team? He said, I'm going to remind them that you belong here.
1 versus 2 on the bracket. This is not David versus Goliath, even though Grand Valley's had the success they've had. These last couple years, IUP has been building for a moment like this.
The Lakers are so good at just punching you in the mouth the start of every game. And it's all about your response. Can you respond back in the first half?
Nicole Kameen having a great start to this national championship.
Kameen already 9 points in this game, and she can get downhill in a hurry. The Lakers up 11 in the second.
Obviously, the Lakers are trying to repeat as national champions, but the first title came back in 2006, 20 years ago, when the head coach of the team was, of course, Dawn Plitzowite, who was standing right next to Mike Williams on the far right side of that photo. Of course, we've got some fun tie-ins here. Dawn Plitzowite, now the head coach for the Minnesota Golden Gophers, who played on the West Coast last night in the NCAA tournament. They lost to UCLA. I think Dawn took a red-eye here to Pittsburgh to catch this national championship game. And how cool is this? Lexi, her daughter at the time was like 3 or 3.5 years old in that picture, and now here she is playing in the national title game.
Well, and it's fun. These two are each other's biggest fans. The Lakers team, they went to a Pittsburgh Penguins game earlier this week, but it was when Minnesota was playing. Lexi was saying, I was having a hard time focusing on the hockey because I was dialed in on what the Golden Gophers were doing to my mom.
They had that great photo last year after winning the title, and I'm sure they are hoping to take another one this year, but IUP's got different plans. It's 28-17 late in the second quarter. Mackenzie Bisball spins and scores.
Great high-low look by the Lakers. Nice job by Scanlon on the find.
That snapped a stretch. Excuse me, IUP has a stretch of 2.5 minutes without a bucket, which extends here as Maggio misses. We've got a held ball.
Crimson Hawks, though, need more of that. It's everybody tying up balls, winning those 50-50 plays to give yourself some extra possessions.
Nicole Kameen leads all scorers with 9 on 4 of 6 shooting. She's also got 4 rebounds, which along with Paige Van Stee is more than anyone in the game. So 12 in white, having herself quite a national championship game so far.
Well, some of that is just the comfortable comfortability of being in this arena before, it certainly is a factor. Getting the chance to play 3 times on this court, even last year.
There's definitely a level of familiarity with Grand Valley State. Look, you don't win titles on paper. You got to come actually do it. And look no further than last night in the men's national semifinals as to exactly why that's the case. Nova Southeastern on the men's side had won 2 of the last 3 national titles. The one they lost basically at the buzzer. They were trying to get back to a 4th. And they got knocked out last night by Lander University. They trailed for almost the whole game. So IUP knows, hey, listen, there was some magic in this building just 24 hours ago. Kind of tapped into that. Maggio is wide open, got to hit that.
That was a great find, though. Shea Weaver was triple teamed down low and was able to get that ball out to Maggio.
Nicole Kameen, little short. Second rebound for Weaver.
Weaver still needs to touch this ball more and hunt her shot.
Bosch wants to take it, hesitated, and then decided, okay, enough with it, I'll just fire.
I just don't like that shot. It's early in the shot clock. It's not necessarily Belle Bosch's game. The 3-ball hasn't been falling here in Pittsburgh.
5 straight misses for the Hawks. 5 out of 7 have gone down for Grand Valley. And they turn around, count the bucket, and one. Scanlon.
And the help defense from the Crimson Hawks has to come a lot sooner. Right now, Grand Valley State is just lobbing that ball into the paint at will. And it's a one-on-one battle because nobody is coming to double or dig down.
That is 3 on Belle Bosch, which is tough news for the Crimson Hawks. Big part of their defensive presence.
You're going to hear a lot of teams say that against Grand Valley State, there's very few teams that can measure up man for man, but that's why the team defense collectively is so important. You have to be communicating defensively. You have to all be on the same page, and that gap defense and help defense better be on court.
Ava Scanlon checks out of the game. Coach Williams said that her potential reminds him a lot, as they say, no shot on the floor. Ava Scanlon's potential reminds Mike Williams a lot of Riley Bisbal, who has since graduated. In the way that they can play underneath, Riley was a more well-established outside shooter. And obviously great size at 6'3". Mike seems to think that Ava can turn into that. Meanwhile, good rejection there from Mackenzie Bisbal.
Another shot block.
Grand Valley's length has definitely bothered the Hawks. They've almost doubled them up as Weaver tried to get involved on the defensive end.
Weaver needs to continue to do that, try and poke that ball around, try and fight around that steal by Mackenzie Bisbal. And there's Riley, speaking of her.
Understand that Riley, who got married not terribly long ago, she and her husband are expecting their first. That's pretty awesome news for the Bisbal family. Congratulations to them.
Right on cue.
That's right.
Older sis.
20-point lead here for Grand Valley in the national championship game. Weaver skips it to Maggio. Teresa hits another one.
And that's where Weaver can be such a good decoy. She's commanding so much defensive attention in the paint. It's going to lead to wide open looks like that for Teresa Maggio at the 3-point line.
Maggio seems to almost be better when her heart rate spikes. As Kameen spins another one off the glass. I'll tell you what, Grand Valley State's got great depth, but Nicole Kameen right now is standing out as the bona fide star in this game.
Yeah, and IUP is going to have to consider sending a secondary defender at her when Nicole Kameen gets deep into the paint.
Wilkerson was in trouble. Bisbal got a piece. Ellie's second chance is tipped away. Lexi Plitzowite to the left. Great backdoor find. Kameen to Bisbal. And right now it's a Laker landslide, 41-20.
The off-ball cutting is just so elite for the Lakers, especially in transition. It's not just one player in the paint that dives down is what makes this Grand Valley State team so elite.
Final minute of the half. Weaver basically had it stuffed, and then Bisbal hacked her. Second foul on Mackenzie, who has almost never left the floor. Bisbal, Kameen, and Plitzwhite have been out there almost the whole game.
Well, Shea Weaver has to continue to assert herself. It's been physical inside. It's going to be exhausting for her with all the physicality and attention that she is getting defensively, but she is such a critical part of this Crimson Hawks offense and needs to continue to find that extra gear.
Including that foul shot, it's a 15-4 run since IUP cut it to 9. And there was 6.5 minutes left in this quarter. Hawks have missed 9 of their last 10 shots, and they've got to convert here from the strike. And Weaver does. Allie Anderson slowly bringing it up. 12-second difference between game and shot clock. Kameen tried to do the same move, and 2 defenders swarmed her. Zamoski. Like the opening she had, Kameen got her hands on it. It's off Grand Valley. Miller inbounds to Wilkerson. IUP's got to have a productive possession, and they do.
Good sign. You got to continue to try and get Ellie Wilkerson going. She's the X factor in this game, especially with Weaver getting so much defensive attention.
Kameen throws it up at the buzzer, and it hits the rim. IUP fought all the way down to the end of that second quarter and cut it back down to 17 after trailing by 21 just a minute ago. Grand Valley State, what a start to this national championship game. As Coach Williams joins us on his way to the locker room. Coach, a much better first half today than what you saw the other day. Let's talk defensive side of the floor. What do you like about the way you're defending Weaver?
Well, we're trying to send bodies out when she catches it. You know, obviously, you let her operate down there, as you saw. She's going to get fouled or score. So we're trying to send people at her when she does get a deep touch, and I thought we've been doing a good job at that. We've rotated on the backside pretty well. One time we missed the rotation, and they hit a 3 on us. But outside of that, it's been pretty good down in that block.
Coach, offensively, Nicole Kameen has really been asserting herself. How do you continue to see that type of guard play from all 4 of your seniors?
Well, you know, like I said, they've been in these moments, and I think they're, you know, this team's very handsy. They reach, they poke, and I think we're doing a good job protecting the basketball, turning the corner, getting downhill, and getting something up on the basket.
Thanks for stopping by. All the best in the second half.
All right, thank you.
All right, Coach Williams and the Lakers off to a good start, trying to repeat as national champions here in 2026. Halfway home, Bisbal leads the way with 14. Nicole Kameen having a great game too. And the Lakers are off and rolling, 41-24 at the half. Grand Valley State halfway home to a second straight national championship. Let's check in here with IUP head coach Craig Carey as he comes back out of the locker room. All right, Coach Carey stops by with us here on his way back out of the halftime locker room. Coach, Shea Weaver's only got 3 shot attempts in the first half in 18 minutes. How are you going to try to get her a little bit more involved here in the second half?
Well, I think we got to get more movement around her. You know, every time we kick it to her, there's 3-4 bodies around her. So we got to do a better job moving without the ball. You know, dive and X and get in the paint and get her some easy looks too to get her going.
Coach, defensively, obviously a lot of attention on protecting the paint. How do you do a better job against some of the guards getting downhill at Grand Valley State?
Well, they're not supposed to go middle, and that's kind of what we're giving up right now. So that's where they've been hurting us, is getting middle drives, and we have no bottom help. So, you know, we got to get back to what we do and force baseline drives and get help, force long skips, and you know, just we got to have a big first, you know, 5 minutes right here.
Well, we look forward to watching you compete. Good luck in the second half here.
All right, thank you.
Not surprised to see Coach talk about having that big first few minutes of the second half. Kelly, that's a huge emphasis for a lot of coaches coming out of the locker room, especially if you're behind. You got to get off to a quicker start. Outside of the couple things we talked about with him, where else can they try to maybe jump on the Lakers here?
Well, IUP has to really try to push tempo in transition, and they have to do a better job on the glass, too, keeping the Lakers off the offensive boards.
Lakers defense has been awfully tough. This group has been really good at transitioning the ball up the floor quickly. They're getting steals, they're blocking shots like crazy.
Really, state defense has been unbelievable. Really set the tone. 8 blocks already in this game. Turning defense to offense. Mackenzie Bisbal finishing the other way. 5 steals in the first half. 13 points off of turnovers. And that defense really set the tone for a big Lakers first half. Just suffocating on the perimeter, protecting the paint. Nothing is coming easy right now for IUP. And Nicole Kameen offensively has been excellent. Unstoppable, getting downhill off the bounce. She's making tough finishes inside. Can finish either hand and has all the angles.
Kameen's got 11 at the break, 4 rebounds, 2 assists in 19 minutes. Mackenzie Bisbal, 14 points on 7 of 10 from the floor with 5 rebounds. They've led the way. Grand Valley State, if you let them shoot 61% from the floor, they're probably not going to lose. IUP has got to find a way to make life a little tougher.
No doubt, and it starts with better defensive communication. The help defense has to come sooner, and as Coach Carey alluded to, you can't be giving up the middle drive.
Lakers, of course, trying to repeat as national champions. Grand Valley State and Ashland have been the 2 preeminent powers in the Midwest region. But Grand Valley State right now is in the middle of something that literally no other D2 team has ever done. They've won 30 or more games in each of the past 5 seasons. The only D2 team in history to have such a 5-game stretch as that ball's blocked out of bounds. They are the measuring stick right now in D2 basketball.
Grand Valley State's really the benchmark in Division II at the present time for how to build a culture, how to build a championship program. I mean, you just 5 straight seasons of 30+ wins is crazy.
Yeah, and it's not just an active streak. No one's ever done that before. They've gone to the Elite 8 4 times under Coach Williams and are certainly off to a good start. A lot of game to go, though, here. This national championship tilt. Ellie Wilkerson trying to get hot here early in the second half. They need her.
And Wilkerson's going to have to continue to assert herself. Weaver, despite getting double, triple teamed at times, is going to have to continue to hunt her shot, be able to play through contact.
Out of play. Since the start of the decade, Grand Valley State is 180-18. They're 96-4 over their last 100 games. And if you just look at the last 5 years in general, like we showed you on screen, 166-12.
Well, what's so impressive is the way, too, that they are able to keep so many of their players, very few, if any, transferring out, and that speaks to the culture.
There are not many programs at any level of basketball that can claim that same level of success, and you're right now it's harder to build a program than maybe ever before. As IUP dumps it underneath, that's the best look Weaver's had all day.
And great vision by Wilkerson. She's underrated as a passer. Could have taken that mid-range pull, dumps off to Weaver instead.
Wow, great play by Paige Van Stee, carving her way through that left side, getting to the bucket. Perhaps Gino Oriema's UConn Huskies the only team that can claim to have quite this same level of consistency. I know if you're a D3 fan watching and you're saying, hey, NYU's women won 91 games in a row before losing the national semifinal this year, but over that 5-year run, the Huskies and the Lakers stand above the rest.
And UConn, the heavy favorite again to win a national title, which is really crazy when you consider that Paige Becker is in the WNBA now. It's hard to imagine that Huskies team getting even better with her departure, but UConn has been unstoppable this year.
It was hard to imagine them getting better when Brianna Stewart graduated too, and you go back so far. It's just one of the all-time great stories in sports, following the Huskies year after year.
And you just look over the course of history too. So many of the teams, doesn't matter what level you're at, that are winning national titles, it's because it's a balanced team. You're able to go and not have a drop-off to that second unit coming off the bench.
We saw Coach Carey on screen. Of course, his dad, Mike, longtime West Virginia basketball coach. in rhythm jumper. Miller, that was the best look she's had all game. Stepped right into it, put it in.
Yeah, the offense has looked a lot more in flow for IUP this half, and they're doing a nice job of finding the open man off those double teams.
43-28. It was 41-20 for what it's worth. IUP starting to slowly chip away at it. Oh man, tough play. Good effort there from Plitzowite. Wilkerson wide open to the bucket. Sweet step around, but it fell off the left side. She sticks with it and draws a foul.
Wilkerson is starting to settle into this game. She's definitely been an impact maker in this second half, not only as a facilitator, but had a wide open path to the lane. Couldn't finish. Nice job following her shot despite 3 Grand Valley players there. And despite the fact the Lakers have been so good on the defensive and offensive glass.
It's 3 on Mackenzie Bisbal as Ava Scanlon takes her spot on the floor. Now you've got Avery Zeenstra and Molly Anderson both out there together. Usually they substitute for one another. Kameen and Van Stee still there too. As Wilkerson swirls it up there and bounces it out. Great offensive board, another chance. Maggio, she's super hot from 3. Pops that one away. IUP's fans could feel it. Oh, have gotten a little bit more alive here since the break.
If you can get this to single digits in the third, this game could change in a hurry.
Weaver pestering Van Stee. 2 All-Americans going at it. Great defense. Molly Keene came over and helped.
Timeout coming.
Now, I think Shea wanted the timeout, but I believe her foot actually touched out of bounds.
Right.
And so it's going to be Grand Valley ball.
Well, that was a better job, the baseline defense of cutting off, which was an issue in that first half. Good secondary help defense coming over from Molly Keene, forcing the initial turnover.
Wilkerson, good defense on Kameen and turns it over. Ellie Wilkerson injecting some life here into the Crimson Hawks.
I like the way Wilkerson is being physical right now with Nicole Kameen, not letting her turn the corner in that pinch post area.
First national title game ever for IUP women's basketball, and they are playing in front of a great, practically home crowd. Trying to give them a reason to believe here.
Got to get that ball to Weaver.
Keene from a long way out. Grand Valley will let her take that all day. Anderson gets the high screen, eventually uses it. Good ball rotation. Van Stee says, okay, I like this look. Tickles a toe and a little string music for Paige.
Van Stee says, if you're going to leave me that wide open, I'm going to make you pay. And Weaver didn't even come to close out on Van Stee.
On the baseline, up and underneath. Miller snuck it up, but little under short.
IUP's getting a lot better looks around the rim in this half, but has to be able to finish those shots.
Hard to have empty possessions when you're chasing the game. Van Stee goes up, and they say it's a foul on the floor.
Paige Van Stee has been a huge factor in this game. Look at the ball movement, making the extra pass. Van Stee, nobody closes out on her. And the senior making the Crimson Hawks pay. Already 11 points in this game.
Grand Valley 3 of 9 from three-point range in the game. They're getting plenty of drives to the bucket like that. Some are straight downhill, some are cutting cross court.
Yeah. Secondary help defender has to come in sooner to make Van Stee try to pick up that dribble.
By the way, 3 fouls on Keene now, who goes back to the bench. Miller, Maggio, Weaver, Bosch, and Wilkerson. And Nisha Weaver ends up losing the possession here. Jump ball goes the other way.
The Lakers' game plan of not letting Weaver catch within 8 feet is working to perfection. And the rare times that she is catching the ball on the block, there's 3 white jerseys all around her collapsing.
Paige checks out. Avery Lay comes back. And now Zavosky returns for IUP as Bosch grabs a seat. 5:30 and counting here in this third quarter. National championship game. Second straight year we're in Pittsburgh. We'll be in Evansville, I beg your pardon, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the next 2 years. Men and women together in Fort Wayne. And just a quick moment while there's a foul on the floor here to thank the entire staff, the national committees on both sides who have hosted the men's and women's Elite Eight this week. It's been a long, wonderful week of basketball here in Pittsburgh as the men and women have held their Elite Eights in conjunction, same site, same week with one another. Just an awesome event.
And the Steel City's been a great host.
They have set the bar pretty high, that's for sure. Halfway through this third quarter, Kameen got her hands on it, and then it got kicked away, and it stays down here.
IUP's going to have to make sure that they are making really sound, intentional passes against the length of this Lakers defense, who's so disruptive.
Grand Valley State continues to have a strong lead in the national championship game midway through the third. Well, there are not many athletic departments across Division II in the NCAA that have achieved at quite the same level that this Grand Valley State team has done. And the women's basketball team has certainly carried the torch on their own. They're looking for a third national championship. They have dominated in the GLIAC the last 5 years. But check this out, all of these titles, 32 in total coming into today, led by the cross-country team. Kind of fun, I remember 2019, their women's soccer team at the time, led by Jeff Hostler, won the national title here in Pittsburgh. They beat Western Washington that year over at Highmark Stadium, just across the street from where we are at Duquesne. So maybe a little good mojo for the Lakers here in the Steel City. Out of the timeout, rattles away, no good. Wilkerson gets another chance. Finally ripped away by Avery Lay. I guess the best way to say it, Kelly, if you want to win a national title, Allendale, Michigan's a pretty good place to be.
Yeah, good odds for you. And there's great department support among coach to coach, too. I mean, Coach Mike Williams was telling us the football team before the semifinal game the other day sent a video of the entire football team singing the fight song.
Amazing. And listen, the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference is also fiercely competitive in basketball, in soccer, in football, field hockey. If you play field hockey in college, I mean, the PSAC is bar none. I know the NE10 has had some good field hockey, but man, Westchester and Millersville and obviously IUP, I know their field hockey team is here. They help carry the American flag out on the floor before the game. A lot of student athletes here supporting their friends out on the floor tonight.
This is going to be so frustrating for IUP defensively because this game is being officiated so tightly. The aggressiveness that the Crimson Hawks are used to showing, especially out on the perimeter, they're having to make adjustments to it because they're getting called for fouls.
Van Stee spins it through her hands and puts it up and in. Paige Van Stee, redshirt senior from Middleville, Michigan. Middleville, Michigan is just south and a little east of Grand Rapids. It was fairly close to home for Paige. That was part of her decision to be a Laker as a collegiate athlete. Pulled away by Molly Anderson.
That double team is just creating so many issues right now for Weaver. And that time, trapping her on the baseline, so it's almost acting as a third defender.
6 unanswered points for GVSU. Paige and Bisbal both have 14. Kameen with 11. They've been the three-headed monster offensively. As Paige lays in yet another one.
IUP defensively, trying to guard the perimeter guards of this Grand Valley State team, has to do a better job of making sure they cannot turn the corner, especially getting downhill to the left hand.
Wilkerson. Weaver to the right. IUP's offense feeling a little stagnant here. Find a cutter. Zawadzki got an easy run to the basket.
That's the type of off-ball cutting that Coach Carey wanted to see at the half from his team, from some main players, some of the role players needing to step up and try and create better movement and offensive flow.
Wins an 8-0 slide, 51-31. Steve looking for some help. And a foul, I believe, away from the basketball here. 10 points for Grand Valley State in the third quarter. 10 points for Paige Van Stee in the third quarter. She's outscoring IUP 10-7 since halftime.
Grand Valley State is in the bonus now too, so that's costly a chance to add and tack on some more points.
Cole Kameen puts it in from the free throw line. So far, the Lakers are handling their business. IUP needs to dig down deep. There's still some time left to make a run, but they need to get going on both ends. And it's not going to start here. Wilkerson called for the offensive foul.
Wilkerson is frustrated both ends of the floor because she's naturally a strong, aggressive guard, especially on the perimeter trying to get downhill. I don't necessarily agree with that call. Wasn't super deliberate with extending that arm.
Anderson, good eyes. Kameen says, okay, I'll fire. And hit. Nicole Kameen with her second three of the night. 16 points in the national championship.
Kameen and Van Stee so locked in right now, even from that three-point line, which hasn't been a massive strength for Grand Valley State this year.
What a spin by Maggio to free herself. She draws the foul.
Nicole Kameen leading the way for the Lakers this year. Again, you give her that much space, she's going to take that shot. And right now, the Lakers are making IUP pay for not coming out and pressing out on the perimeter.
Biggest lead of the game for Grand Valley State University. Hardwell gets it in quick. Bosch needs some help. Zaboski off the glass. Got her own miss and forced it back up and in with Davis extending her arms.
Addison Zaboski is doing everything she can right now for the Crimson Hawks. Being that player that's stepping up, can be the X factor here in this third quarter, trying to keep this lead for Grand Valley State, trying to chip away at it.
Every single time IUP scores, it feels like Grand Valley answers immediately.
And IUP is going to need to consider bringing two at Van Stee when she turns that corner, because she's getting downhill right now, especially to that left hand at will.
Maggio is fouled. And Stee didn't let her land, and she's got 3 foul shots coming.
Teresa Maggio, the best three-point shooter on this Crimson Hawks team, can flip it at 40%, and she's got a quick trigger too, so you really can't give her an inch of space coming off that ball screen.
I know we spotlighted Nyshay Weaver before the game started, but I think you could make an argument that Maggio is also equally important, if not even more important than Weaver. She doesn't have the size, but Kelly, what she lacks in size, she more than makes up for in spirit.
Spirit and heart. And she really dictates defensively what IUP does. Has those active hands. She gets so many deflections, turns defense to offense.
Teresa picked up 2 fouls fairly quickly, but has stayed in the game for the most part. And has only fouled once since then. 12 points, a couple threes, 4 or 5 from the line. 1 rebound for Teresa in the national championship game.
What a pass.
Scanlon, a shot is waved off because she traveled with it.
Good defense there from IUP, forcing Scanlon into the mistake.
Meanwhile, assistant coach Phil Sayers.
Well, he coaches,
Mike's the leader of the team.
He coaches the defense, so yeah. he's wanting his team to stay locked in here.
Phil has a lot of juice. He's also a great guy, uber competitive. On the right side, Hardwell tied up. Nicole Kameen got her hands in there.
That defense of the Lakers is just suffocating right now in the third quarter, collapsing anytime there's a potential 50-50 ball. Hardwell picks up her dribble, and it just allows Kameen to tie this ball up.
Lakers are putting IUP in a straitjacket. They're shooting 31% for the game, 0 of 5 from 3 here in the second half, 2 of 12 the whole afternoon. Davis almost speared it away. Instead, Bosch tried everything she could to draw a foul, but no whistle. Shot clock is off at the end of the third quarter. Grand Valley by 25. Anderson banks it and swirls it out. The Lakers have been unstoppable on both ends.
Lakers can feel it. They are 10 minutes away, riding a big double-digit lead. Grand Valley State trying to make it back-to-back national titles. Paige 12 of her 18 points coming in that third quarter. Crisp ball movement. She was popping from long range, and she was unstoppable off the bounce, especially getting downhill with that left hand. Making her grandpa Toonstra very proud in this one. And she's been electric. She's been the difference maker in this second half of the Lakers.
58-35, all Lakers. Outscored IUP in the first quarter 17-8, the second quarter 24-16, and 17-11 in the third. Van Stee has 12 of her 18 in that third quarter. And it looked like Bisbal stepped out of bounds. How about that? 16 takeaways between blocks and steals for this Grand Valley defense.
Just been absolutely suffocating. It's turned it up a notch. This is the best we have seen of this Lakers defense since they've come to Pittsburgh. You're talking.
Yeah, I don't know what got into them after that game on Thursday, or maybe it doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out exactly what got into them.
20-plus missed layups was a little bit of motivation.
31 missed layups for the game, 22 in the first half. In that semifinal win, they missed 15 threes and still won by 22 points.
But you're holding one of the top offenses in the entire country in IUP to 35 points right now.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen very often. I mean, this is usual for Laker fans.
This offense normally averages around 77 points per game.
I mean, IUP wins games by 19 a night on average, the fourth highest scoring margin in the country. They're down by 23 in the national championship game. Wilkerson just picked up her fourth. Van Stee scores again. They try to give Maggio a little breather, and she's going to have to come back in. Miller throws it into the key, and Plitzowite held Weaver from behind.
Well, and that entry pass just came a hair too late. If you would have hit Weaver a little bit sooner, she would have been able to have a easy lay-in, but that defense, that help defense, was sitting over there waiting.
Nice Shea Weaver. Just hasn't really been the impact that IUP needs from her. It's not for a lack of effort, but Grand Valley has smothered one in black. She's got 6 points on 2 of 4 shooting with 3 turnovers in 28 minutes.
This isn't even being allowed to catch the ball.
Yeah. That young lady on screen is an honorable mention All-American. I mean, you watch her play, honestly, just about any other game this year, she's the best player on the floor. Grand Valley State is just can't get her the ball.
And she brings so much energy to this IUP squad as well. It really enjoys setting the tone for her squad as a senior.
Anderson. I think they accidentally reset the shot clock, and they shouldn't have. So we got a little break here for a second. Coach Carey looks on, and I don't know that I would say that's a worried look. That's kind of a usual look. He's, you know, fairly mild-mannered in general.
Calm.
Yeah, he's not really a big, vivacious, animated guy on the sideline. I actually think that's helped IUP in a couple of these tournament games because they seem to, you know, embody that same personality.
Well, he's that person too, especially when IUP got rattled in the first half. He can be that calming influence.
Good job by Weaver there. Great defense denying the pass. Aaron Miller lobs underneath. There's a nice little drawn-up set, but Weaver missed it. Stays with the play and loses it out of bounds.
And the length, again, of Mackenzie Bisbal has created so many issues, even though she's getting overshadowed in this game by Kameen and Van Steed offensively. Her defense has been lights out. The way that she's blocking shots, straight up there, not fouling. This is likely going to get appealed.
Well, they're sending the teams to their respective benches as Weaver told Coach Carey, hey, I think this should get looked at. And so he's going to make an appeal here. Call on the floor is Grand Valley State ball. We'll find out what they make their decision on here next. Well, the coach's appeal from Coach Carey on the IUP side did not work the way that he hoped. The call was confirmed. IUP loses a timeout, and it is Grand Valley State basketball. So it remains a 23-point game.
I like this move to go to a full court pressure.
Absolutely.
For IUP. Change up the defense. Try and turn it up a bit, create some extra possessions, create some steals.
A little surprised, honestly, IUP didn't do it sooner.
Yeah, me too. But some of that is just a depth thing. With everybody in foul trouble.
Totally. Miller. Oh, good active hands from Molly Anderson. Back to Marin. It's blocked again. Paige Van Steed.
I mean, the length has just been crushing today for IUP. It's been all over the floor. Another
Goodness
rejection.
gracious. Take a bow 24 on both ends of the floor.
Paige Van Steed making her impact felt in her final game as a Laker, both ends of the floor.
Off in time. I think it hit the back of the rim there. 3 block shots, 2 steals, 7 rebounds, 1 turnover, and of course 20 points for Paige Van Steed, first team All-American. It's not an over and back. It's tipped into the backcourt. Kameen slings it over. And a foul with 1 second on the shot clock.
That one hurts. Great defense for 29 seconds of that shot clock. And then bailing the Lakers out with a reach.
Van Steed, spot up, the bottom!
And IUP right now cannot let Paige Van Steed catch that ball, and they have to start closing out on her because Van Steed has made them pay this entire second half.
23 points, 8 for 10 from the floor. The game of her life in the biggest game she'll ever play in. Nice, Shea Weaver cleans it up. Excellent press break, 2-on-1. Weaver stood her ground, but Bisbal turns and scores anyways. Laker fans are loving it.
And 2-on-1 by the Lakers. They have the size and the length advantage.
IUP has missed 7 of its last 8, and they are running out of time. Weaver from the baseline, pops free. Nobody told Van Steed that she was going to get hit from behind there. And good sportsmanship helping her up.
It's
Savosky back in.
It's so hard to simulate the level of physicality and the size and the length that the Lakers bring until you're experiencing it in game.
3-on-1. Good bounce pass. Bisbal fouled. Count the bucket. The Lakers starting to feel inevitable.
Mackenzie Bisbal has been a shot blocking machine in this game, and then off little 2-on-1, the hoop and the harm.
Well, maybe we're seeing why IUP didn't go to that full court press sooner. It has not been effective. A 28-point lead in the national championship game. A lot of folks watched Grand Valley State this year and said, okay, maybe a different looking team in a lot of respects from the one that took home the title last year, but after just a couple games, had a pretty good feeling that this team was going to be in the mix. Then they went through the GLIAC, and listen, it wasn't 30-point wins night after night in GLIAC competition. They lost to Wayne State once, 78-77. They also beat them by only 1 point. So we get a bad screen up top that's going to send it the other way on Plitzowite. There's some other nationally ranked teams in that league as well, but in the national tournament, it has been all Grand Valley. Paige Van Stee is having an unbelievable title game. Well, when you play in the biggest games, you need big performances. And a lot of times, Kelly, it comes from your best players. Sometimes you need somebody else to step up, but Paige Van Stee has been so reliable for this team. This moment never fazed her. She has been outstanding, especially in the second half.
Van Stee is playing the game of her life right now, and she's made such an impact, besides offensively today, on the defensive end of the floor. Much improved on-ball defense this season. It's really showing today.
2 quick buckets by the Crimson Hawks out of the timeout. They are 8 for 30 shooting in the second half. Grand Valley 16 for 24. And Steve comes up the floor armed with a 24-point lead. While we have a lull in the action, just a big thank you to our crew all week long. On the ladies' side, led by our producer, Kyle Binder. And on the men's side, our producer, Braden Pretch. It's been a blast all week long with 13 games between the men's and women's Elite Eight here on ESPN Plus in Pittsburgh. We are grateful for everybody's work all week. Aaron Miller feeds the key, and look who's there. Paige gets her hands on it.
That length has created so many issues today. She's got such active hands. She gets in passing lanes, gets deflections.
Nicole Kameen. I mean, all 3 stars for Grand Valley State have not just had big numbers, they've had efficient nights. Bisbal 9 of 12, Kameen 7 of 11, Van Stee 8 of 10. Wow. That one missed. Mackenzie got the rebound, and they can milk some more clock here.
Well, that's what's so special about this Grand Valley State team is they don't care who gets the shine each night. It's just a balanced team effort. All they care about is winning.
Molly Anderson missed it all. Van Stee does not get that shot off in time. Obviously, IUP on the other end of this certainly was not the way they dreamed their first national championship appearance would look. But I just think there's a lot to be said for Craig Carey taking over this program a couple years ago in the interim as Nicole Kameen checks out of the game. He took a chance on them, they took a chance on him. And when he accepted the job, it was under the condition that he would get serious consideration if that first year went really well after taking over for a legendary coach. And it's been a perfect marriage between Coach Carey and IUP. And there are bright days ahead for the Crimson Hawks for sure. The Atlantic region knows that those Crimson Hawks that were picked 3rd in their own division in the league at the beginning of the season, you're not going to have a lot of doubters going into next year. As Paige scores her 25th points of the night.
Well, even though this championship game is not going how IUP had planned, this group of players, especially these seniors, can take a lot of solace in the fact that they're leaving a legacy in this program, and that they've helped this women's basketball program take that next step and laid the groundwork.
Coach Williams is calling off the dogs. 5 in, 5 out, and it's about to be a long, fun party for Grand Valley State. Fresh faces on the floor include Kelly Cray in the post, along with Lauren Slagle. Look how hard the second group comes out. Emerson Burnt is in the game. Sydney Cherney has checked on. And also Reese Gaitan. 71-45.
But what a special class, the 5 seniors that were a huge part of the nucleus of this team, sticking around all these years, 4 of them fifth-year seniors. To say that you finished your college career winning 2 national titles, that is something that stays with you your entire life. And so many of these young women, too, these seniors, they're going to be in each other's weddings. Literally this summer.
Yeah, literally in a few weeks or a couple months in some cases. This will be only the 7th instance in Division II women's basketball history that a team has gone back-to-back. And yes, that does include Lubbock Christian, who did not obviously win the title in the COVID years. Ellie Wilkerson, Brace's coach. Lubbock Christian won in 2019, and then in the first tournament after the COVID canceled year, 2021. The last defending champ from one calendar year to the next was a long while back. Cal Poly Pomona, 2001 and 2002. Maisha Weaver checks out. Mike Williams has been part of this Grand Valley staff for a long time as an assistant, and is now as the head coach. Del Bosch leaves the floor. Naomi Zulueta out there. Coach Williams, when he first moved to Grand Valley, he lived in Dawn Plitzowite's basement because it was so quick and he needed to figure it out while they were trying to figure out where they were going to live. Coach Williams eventually got married and started his family. He has been an Allendale staple.
Well, how full circle now that he is coaching Lexi Plitzowite, Dawn's daughter. And I'm told, too, that Coach Williams hasn't RSVP'd yet to Lexi's wedding, so I'm sure it's a given he's going, but he's had a little bit other stuff on his mind on this run.
Lose the save the date in the mail?
Yeah.
I think he'll find a way to be available.
There's no doubt he's going, but I think he's been preoccupied by some other important things going on.
Maggio from the stripe. What a joy it's been to watch her in this tournament. She's going to be one of those players that when you look back on the 2026 Elite Eight, oh boy, that's a weird omen. The confetti cannon goes off prematurely. Still a minute 23 to go. IUP's not happy about that. We're going to have to get
people out to get this confetti off the court because this is a safety hazard now.
Oh boy. Well, that gives us a chance to talk a little bit more about the long-term impact that these two teams have had on the respective athletic departments, because I'm not sure we've seen a premature confetti cannon at a national championship game before. Obviously, as they clean up the floor here, the chants from IUP are well warranted. These fans are really getting behind their young ladies who are having a tough moment on the far side.
IUP playing sort of a home game, about 60 miles from their campus. And actually, interestingly enough, played here first scrimmage of the season, actually scrimmaged Duquesne, so somewhat familiar with this floor.
I'm sure that was intentional, by the way, knowing where this tournament was going to be held at the end of the year. Well, you don't really ever plan for this, do you? Obviously, for one team, knowing the scoreboard is so lopsided at the moment, there's not nearly as much drama here. A pretty lighthearted huddle on that sideline. IUP maybe gives them a chance to take a deep breath and take in the moment. Nobody likes to linger in defeat, but there is a great deal of pride that you can take in making a national championship game appearance. Let's look at our leading scorers in the game here for GVSU.
Just monster performances from all three. Paige Van Steed leading the way, 25 points. Look at the efficiency, 9 of 11 from the field. Efficiency for, frankly, all three of these players.
Look at this. Grand Valley's off the bench saying, all right, I know you guys have done your best with the mops. We're going to grab some of this confetti. We'll help you figure it out. I don't know, they're going to put it in their pockets.
I'd take it as a souvenir if I was
For sure. No pockets in their gym shorts, but I think they'll find some Ziploc bags later today to bring some of that home.
A little bit anticlimactic.
Yeah, that's a weird way to end the game. Well, it is what it is. Accidents happen. A little confetti stuck on the backboard there. Good catch. All right, the floor is safe once more, and we can play the final 123. Gaitan, Cherney, Burnt, Slagle, and Cray all out there. Looks like Grand Valley is sending Jordan Bonema to the scorer's table. Maybe she'll check in too.
But how special for both of these teams. Your bench, your second unit is able to come in here, get some valuable minutes in the national championship game.
Ella Peterson, this one goes out of bounds. Zulueta. They've got Ella Vent on the floor. Molly Key. Another change here as Bonema did check in. And now Alexis Bowie is off the bench for IUP. Off the inbound, driving to the basket. Zawadzki. She's got 8 in the national championship game. Grand Valley State still has to shoot it at least once here unless they choose to allow a shot clock violation. About to win their 15th straight game. They've gone to the NCAA tournament 10 years in a row under Coach Williams and at least won a game. I beg your pardon, this is the 11th straight year, and they've at least won a game in 10 of those tournaments. As IUP gets the ball back.
Just unparalleled levels of success between the 5 straight 30-win seasons, 3 Final Fours in 5 years, soon to be 2 national titles in the last 2 years.
They have been the measuring stick. And Grand Valley State is going to get it done again as Allendale gets ready to party. Long live the Lakers! Grand Valley State, Queen of Division II again!
The definition of a total team effort today. Grand Valley State is the standard in Division II. Great balance. Did it with their offense, but especially their defense today, starting things off, just punched and blitzed right out of the gate. And Coach Mike Williams ensuring that his team was going to win back-to-back national titles. Coach Williams said, this team enjoys the moment like no team I have ever coached. And now these young women get to soak in this moment.
For all of eternity, these young ladies can call themselves national champions. What a team. What a program.